when they reflect something back to you and it gets triggered inside, ask yourself, where is it coming from and why? Because when something is triggered, I promise you, it's something that's unhealed. Our partners are sent to reflect and to help us heal. I truly believe that the best partners in the world, man or woman, are sent to heal all of the places that we did not attend to along the way. Every relationship that you're in is teaching you something about who you are and something that you may need to fix. You have to create a safe space for yourself because not everybody is going to be able to help you get out of that place of being triggered and unhealed. Welcome back to another episode of your Office On podcast. I'm your host, Martha, and I'm so glad that you made it back once again to explore and navigate life with me, your host, Martha. Today, I have a question for you. Have you ever wondered why sometimes when you're in a relationship, you get triggered or you feel like someone that you're with may be mirroring what you are saying or doing? Or maybe even mirroring unhealed wounds and triggers. That is what we're going to discuss today. I want to talk to you about mirroring a relationship and the mirror effect, because sometimes we forget that though we may think we're healed, our partners may actually pull things out of us that we thought we may have healed or we thought that we may have gotten over, and they come back and they come back out in order for us to heal them. So today I'm going to discuss that. We're going to get into it and I'm going to give you kind of a definition of it, kind of break it down for you and give you ways that you can look inside and self-reflect and see if you really do need some help or you do need to heal some areas in your life, because partners, I truly believe, are sent to us to evolve as an individual. Sometimes we get lucky and we get to stay with them forever, and sometimes we don't get lucky and sometimes they move on. So you have to remember that even though you moved on from that person taught you something. So you have to ask yourself again, what are you learning, or what did you learn from that relationship? Because people are sent in our lives to unravel and undo what was done to us before. I truly believe that. So stick with me and we're going to get into it, okay? So first off, I want to give you the definition of the mirroring effect, okay? And that is how we unconsciously reflect to each other emotions, behaviors, and wounds. Again, how we unconsciously reflect emotions, behaviors, and wounds. Sometimes you have to ask yourself, why am I being triggered by my boyfriend or my girlfriend or my partner? Why are they triggering me? Because those things that are being triggered, you have to question, where are they coming from? And why are they still there? Or why are you still responding to them? All right. And so the psychological basis of this mirroring effect is the projection and how we are projected to us unresolved issues. Unresolved issues are with us all the time until we resolve them. And sometimes it takes years, sometimes it takes multiple partners to get to the root of things. And remember, this is not to fight against you. This is actually to help you. So whenever God sends someone to you to help you unravel those things, I know that it can be uncomfortable, and I know that it can be painful, and I know that sometimes it could be just downright annoying, right? Because you want to have a good relationship and you don't want to have to argue and you don't want to have to just be disruptive or deal with the things that hurt inside. And that's the things that we really need to pay attention to. Those uncomfortable feelings inside are the things that our body, our mind, and our spirit is telling us that they're telling us that it needs help, that it needs to be either healed, put aside, or forgotten or forgiven, right? And it's up to us as mature adults to self-reflect. So I have a story that I want to share with you because I feel like it's going to help what I mean. I dated a gentleman for 4 years. And in that 4 years, I remember being absolutely triggered at all angles of our relationship. Now, it didn't start off immediately. It started to happen like shortly, I would say around 6 to 8 months. And everything that started to happen started to trigger things that I was still healing from and still dealing with, and maybe not even dealing with at the time from my childhood and prior to meeting him. I have dealt with a lot of trauma, a lot of abuse in my life. And so I thought at some point I was over it. But when I met this individual and we started to date and things started to unravel and he started to reflect things back to me, I realized that those places that I thought were gone or I had put away needed to be fixed and healed. Because in order for me to be a better human being and the best version of myself, I had to fix those areas. And God did it on purpose. And I know He did. And today I'm thankful for that relationship. I'm thankful for what happened. And I'm thankful for how I was able to sit back and reflect on all of the things that transpired throughout the relationship that caused me to be a better version of myself after the relationship. Now, none of it, and I mean none of it, was comfortable. None of it felt good, and none of it felt like it was doing anything, okay? But when I was separated from the situation and stood outside of the situation and was able to look in, gosh, did I see so much of myself that needed help. And I am so thankful that God brought this person into my life and decided that that was the person that was going to break all of these things, and maybe not fully and functionally, but that person was able to bring them all to the surface. And I'll tell you this, and then I'll move on. This relationship allowed me to grow and to realize what I wanted and what I didn't want in a relationship, and what I was going to accept and what I wasn't going to accept. Now, I will say this, I was not 100% healed or better when I walked out of the relationship, but I was much better of a person than when I met him. And at some point, I did have to call this person. I didn't have to. I called this person back and I apologized for the things that I put him throughout the relationship. Because at some point, as you mature in life, you will have to take responsibility for the things that you have done and the things that you have caused in that relationship, right? Or in that part of your life. And I needed to apologize because I felt like the person that I looked at that was in that relationship was not who I was at the time that I was apologizing. So, needless to say, I say all of this to say this. It's going to be uncomfortable. And when your partner, whoever it is, it could even be a friend or your family, when they reflect something back to you and it gets triggered inside, ask yourself, where is it coming from and why? Because when something is triggered, I promise you, it's something that's unhealed. All right? Perfect. So now let's get into the early signs, okay? Like I told you in my past relationship, there were signs of all of this starting to be triggered. When the signs come in, it's going to be uncomfortable and it's going to definitely feel triggering. You are going to be triggered to the point where you feel like you want to scream, you want to cry, you just want to get rambunctious, right? That's a cute little word, rambunctious. And I know the feeling. So if you're dealing with it right now and you're actually feeling it right now in your life and you're wondering why I'm being triggered by my own partner, the person that's supposed to bring you peace, sometimes the peace is the triggering. It is causing you to seek out the pain and the healing so that you can find the peace, because the peace is within you. And if your soul and your spirit is not in peace, you're not going to get peace. Regardless of where you look at it or look for it, you're not going to have it, okay? Just focus on that. If I'm not at peace, what is it inside of me that needs me to pay attention to it? What is my body and my spirit and my mind calling me to look at? All right. So the mirror effect is the most important thing, I think, in a relationship. Now, again, doesn't feel good. And we probably don't even pay attention to it. But this is the reason why we're having this conversation, because I want you to pay attention to it. I want you to seek it out. I want you to look for it, because when your partner is reflecting back to you behaviors that you don't like, you have to really ask yourself, am I triggering that in that person? Or is it me and he's just reflecting back, or she's reflecting back to me? What is wrong with me? Now, when I say what is wrong with you, I don't mean that something's wrong with you. What I mean is that something inside of you needs some loving, needs some gentle love, some TLC, okay? There are parts of us that are still that child. Our child from us being kids, that needs some healing. Majority of adults walking the face of the earth today are just children acting like adults, because they never stopped to heal the broken child inside of them. Think about it. When you see somebody acting a little immature, you have to ask, what part of you was not healed when you were a child? Or what part of you have you not healed as a child? Now, this conversation may be triggering to a majority of you, and it should be. I want to trigger you. I want you to look at yourself in the mirror and go, am I acting like a child? Am I acting immature? And why am I acting immature? Why do I feel like this person irritates the inside of me? I have encountered some people, not even a relationship, but people who have triggered a really ugly spirit inside of me. And I had to go, okay, where is that coming from and why? Why is this happening? And why is that little thing getting upset? That thing is your spirit, or it could be your inner demons, whichever one it is. Attend to it, okay? Figure out what it is and attend to it, because I'll tell you what, our bodies, our minds, and our spirits are always telling us what needs to be fixed. Okay, that's just like that gut feeling. It's telling you something. Follow it, listen to it, and attend to it. Okay, moving on. Triggers and unhealed wounds. Triggers are emotional reactions that arise from past trauma and unresolved emotions. Simple. If you're being triggered, where's the trauma and where is the unresolved emotion? Just two simple things. Find them. Find them. Ask yourself those questions. Where is it that I'm being triggered and why? And where is the unresolved emotions? Because your wounds are your unresolved emotions, which means you may have anger, you may have resentment, you may have pride, you may have a blown up ego, you may have trauma from your childhood, abuse, you may have emotional, mental, physical abuse that you have unresolved yet, that you have not resolved in yourself and you have not healed. And most importantly, forgiven the person who did it to you. I know that's a hard pill to swallow, but I'll tell you what, once you forgive the person who has done something to you, you no longer have that attachment to that person. And then it is your duty to heal the place that hurts. Okay. Once you remove the attachment, you have all this space to heal what is being hurt. Okay. I recall being hurt by an individual physically and emotionally. And I can't tell you how much God had to work on me to forgive this person, because I held on to that attachment and that resentment for so long. And when I finally released it, I remember someone bringing up the conversation of that past person, or of that past person in a conversation. And I remember it not triggering me. I remember it not bothering me like the way it used to, or causing me to feel anxious like it did. And then I recalled, if I did not forgive that person and let go of the attachment of the abuse and the emotional abuse, I probably would have been triggered. I probably would have been like, anxious and kind of filled with all this mind-boggling thoughts, right? And for those out there, I know that we do have these moments, right? As a person who has been physically abused and a person who has emotionally been abused, we do have these triggers, and they sometimes never go away. They get better and they get healed, but they sometimes never go away. Okay. And that is just a part of being traumatized and having a trauma thing that happened to you, a traumatic thing that happened to you. Okay. And I just want to say to those out there who have endured it and who have gone through it, I'm sorry. And I'm so proud of you for waking up every day and saying to yourself that you're going to continue and you're going to find your way out. Okay. Because that is the most courageous thing that you can ever do. Life can be hard. And when we are put in a position where someone that we thought we love or someone that in that moment we feel like we love hurts us, it's hard to forgive ourselves and it's hard to forgive that person for what they've done to us. And sometimes it takes a long, long time to get to that place of healed. Okay. And I am sending my love to you. I'm sending my courage to you and my strength to you because I want you to know that you can and will get through it and you will get over it. Okay. I love you. Let's get on. So the role of unhealed wounds. Deep-seated issues from childhood or past relationships resurface in your relationships. We talked about that just a moment ago. So deep-seated issues will return in your relationships because your relationships are meant to mirror those back to you so that you can heal them. And you will continue the repeated pattern until you take the moment and sit down and figure out what it is that you are going through and why you are feeling the way you are feeling. Okay. Relationships are beautiful. Sometimes they're a pain in the ass. Sometimes they're great. Sometimes they're bad. But remember, every relationship that you're in is teaching you something about who you are and something that you may need to fix. All right. So triggers, wounds, and unhealed issues with people, not the person that you're with, but people in your past or even situations in your past will come up. And it's up to you to take care of those places, to give yourself a little TLC, and to even maybe seek out a therapist. Therapists are so important for those who are dealing with trauma or even abuse in their lives. Okay. I am a victim of abuse. I am a victim of trauma, and I have a therapist, and she's amazing. And without her, I wouldn't be able to make the steps that I need to make in my life in order to be a healed version of myself. And I'm 44, and healed is still a long ways away. I'm not saying that I'm not healed now, but there are certain areas that still need a little tender love and care. And that's okay with me because where I am now, I'm more secure now in who I am as a woman and as an individual than I've ever been in my entire life. So I'm just suggesting seek out therapy or seek out a mentorship or seek out support. Okay. All right. So we're going to get into how a relationship can amplify your triggers. Now, remember, it is a reaction that you are strongly feeling in a relationship because of something that somebody said or did at that moment, or even just in general in the relationship. And sometimes we have a hard time dealing with our vulnerabilities, so we get triggered, right? So the anger, the resentment, the spitefulness, some of these behaviors come out because we feel vulnerable and we feel unsafe. That doesn't mean that your partner is an unsafe place, but you may not feel safe. You may feel vulnerable and you may feel exposed. And those are the areas that you have to look at. Those are the areas that you want to tune into, because when your partner may even say something as, that same behavior that you have today, you did that last week. Is there something that may be bothering you, or is there something that is triggering that? A great partner will always ask or be inquisitive about what's going on with you, because they may not know that you were abused. They may not know that you were traumatized. And it is important that at some point you get vulnerable enough to explain or expose those areas to your partner, especially if you find a long-term relationship in your life that you're looking at marriage or an extended period of a relationship, because it's your responsibility to make sure that your partner knows what you've been through and giving him or her the opportunity to help you go through the healing process. Our partners are sent to reflect and to help us heal. All right. I truly believe that the best partners in the world, man or woman, are sent to heal all of the places that we did not attend to along the way. And they're strong enough to help us deal with it. They're strong enough to understand what's going on if we explain to them. Okay. I have a beautiful relationship at the moment, and I cannot tell you that through the process of our relationship, I have seen those triggers, and I was able to go and look inside and go, okay, I see you. Where are you? And where are you coming from? And it's not my partner's fault. It's not him saying something that is wrong or abusive that causes me to be triggered. It's him doing the right things sometimes that causes me to be rebellious, or something inside me goes, no, I don't want to do that, or no, I don't want to think like that, or no, that's not how we do that. Because I have been such an independent woman that so when I spend time with my partner, when I spend time with my partner, I see that he means well. And my little triggers and my little wounds start to come out when I feel vulnerable and I feel unsafe. It's not to say that he makes me unsafe. It's just to say that I am feeling unsafe. And those are triggers and those are unhealed wounds. Okay. I just wanted to give you an example so that you can put yourself in your situation and ask yourself, am I being triggered? Am I being reflected? Am I being reflected as a mirror, or is that person reflecting on me what's going on with them? So it's vice versa. It may not even be you. Let's turn it to your partner, right? Your partner may be projecting on you what's going on with them. And it's up to you to ask the right questions that can be thought-provoking for your partner to open up and be vulnerable with you, to express what may be trauma or unhealed wounds for them. Okay, this is not always all about you. This could be about your partner too, because you're mirroring back to them what they're projecting to you. Okay, I love this part of the relationship because it's impressive if you actually sit down and look at it. It's impressive to know that the partner that you're with was sent to you to reflect to you beautiful things and also unhealed things. The greatest potion in the world that God ever created, honestly, other than the world, because as you know, the world is just beautiful. It is, it truly is. Anyways, moving on. So to get to the place of healing and doing it through mirroring, you have to be able to be self-aware and be able to reflect. Self-awareness is so important, which means that you need to be spending time with yourself in self-care and in healing meditation to help you realize and look at the things that are, I won't say broken, but unhealed and triggered in you. Okay. You have to create a safe space for yourself because not everybody is going to be able to help you get out of that place of being triggered and unhealed. You have to be able to create the safe space for yourself and to be able to recognize what needs to be reflected on and what may need to be talked through with a therapist or medical advisors. Okay. Because when you take the steps to reflect on your life and places that you may still need to heal, the process gets easier because it gets easier because you become more self-aware. And when you become self-aware, the triggers and unhealed places that pop up, you go, oh, I know where that's coming from. Oh, I know where that belongs. And you start to be able to heal and fix those places faster. I remember just how fast I started to look at things and go, oh no, we're not doing that. Not today. That's an unhealed place and let's talk about it. And I don't have to talk about it with my therapist nowadays. I will either journal it out or I will self-reflect and go, okay, so where is this coming from? Where do I believe that it's associated to? Because now working with a therapist, she has given me cognitive behaviors and work that I can utilize to unravel those places that need to be healed. And that's why I say and suggest therapy, because it gives you the tools that you can use to help heal yourself along the way. You don't need a therapist every day. You can do it yourself. And it's a beautiful thing with the help of God, because as a Christian, as myself, I do believe that all of the things that I'm going through have been also helped by God. He has given me the strength and the discernment to figure out what's going on and to be able to heal the places that need to be healed. Moving on. All right. So in the healing process and the awareness and the self-reflection, we need to have open communication. We need to be able to communicate to our partners or communicate to our family members or people around us who are causing the triggers. Not that they're purposely doing it, but they are causing the triggers. We need to be able to communicate with them. If it's not in that moment, then you need to communicate sometime to the person or persons that are causing the triggers that was triggered, and that you see what's going on within yourself, and that what that person may have said or done caused that trigger. If you communicate these things with your partners or your family members or just people in general around you, they will start to see where their words and their behaviors can trigger you, and they become self-aware of how to, I wouldn't say handle you, but to delegate their behaviors around you, so that way they know that, well, if I do this, it may trigger her or him. Well, if I say this, it may trigger her or him. That gives them the opportunity to avoid those type of things, right? We don't want to always avoid the triggers, because we need to be triggered. We need to feel that uncomfortableness and dig in there and get it out, because without getting it out, you're just going to continue to repeat the patterns throughout your life. We're trying to break patterns here. We're trying to heal and become the best versions of ourselves. That is the reason why we talk on this podcast, because I want you to be the best version of yourself. And if I'm giving you the tools to do it, I want you to go out there and do it. I want you to go out there and heal those places. Okay? So communication is very important. I now know how to communicate my feelings. And if I don't, if there is something that I am feeling, I will take a moment, and sometimes a day, think about how I am feeling and think about how I'm going to express it to my partner or to my kids or to my family members. And typically, I will take about 24 hours to do so. Sometimes it's immediate. Sometimes I go, oh, that didn't feel good. And what you said to me bothered me, and this is why it bothered me, and I'm either not going to put up with it or please refrain from doing it, right? You are the person who self-governs yourself. That other person is not responsible for your happiness or your emotions. You are. And so it's important that you communicate your emotions and how you are feeling, okay? Because without those things, your partner has nothing to help you, nothing to be better for you. And that's vice versa. Your partner has to do the same thing too. And I believe that beautiful, strong relationships are the ones that communicate. Majority of relationships break apart because of lack of communication or the failure of communication. So I may be feeling something, and because I didn't communicate to you, you don't know what's going on with me. And I have this expectation for you to figure it out, which that is not me, but most people want mind readers. I love you guys out there. No one on the face of this earth is a mind reader. And if you are and you have some special skills, good for you. But majority of us cannot read minds, and you have to communicate, okay? You've got to get it out and talk about it. All right. Tools for healing. I want you guys to address your triggers, and I want you to work through the unhealed wounds, maybe with your therapist or together with your partner, okay? Because if you can work it out with your partner and talk about what's going on with you, there's so much there in that area that can be healed, because now your partner knows what's going on. Now your partner can attend to it and go, oh, okay, so this triggers you. All right, so I will stay away from this or not say this, and we can work through that. Or you can take it to your therapist and learn ways and get some tools from your therapist to help you get through those things, okay? Because there are tools to help you heal. When they say that healing takes time, I believe that, but it also takes work. You can't just say time is going to heal all wounds. Well, it will eventually, or maybe not, because you have to do the work. You have to put in the work in order to heal the places that are broken, okay? And so time will heal, but doing the work with time is going to make a better progress, okay? All right. So I've given you tools. I've talked about how mirroring can project, or you can see the triggers inside of yourself that may need some work, okay? Because partners can be just as projecting as you are, and it's important that you both recognize when there is projection. So if you are a secure and confident person, you may look at your partner and go, that's an insecure place in my partner, and or you'll notice insecurities in your partner and in yourself as well, and you will start to be self-aware, which means that you'll have the ability to communicate to your partner, hey, I said this and I noticed that that you responded to it in a more insecure way, which I want to ask you, did it make you feel insecure? Now, asking those kind of questions can be difficult for a partner, because if their vulnerabilities are unable to be expressed, they won't know how to express, yes, what you said bothered me. Or they may, okay, because there are some beautiful people out there who have great emotional intelligence and maturity that can communicate these ways. And that's where we want you to be. We want you to get to that emotional maturity so that you can talk about the things that are being triggered and talk about the things with your partner that may be being triggered in your partner, okay? I love the mirroring effect. And I think it's a special place to be, again, in your relationship, because it is words that were unspoken are being spoken. So see it as a blessing to have a partner or family or friends that mirror back to you and cause you to stir, because that stirring is what's causing you to heal. And without that stirring in that uncomfortable place, you're never going to be the better version of who you are. God did not bring you here to be a lesser version of yourself. He wants you here to break all those chains that the devil may have tried to put on you as a child, and break them and be the purpose that he put you here to be. Okay? I believe that all of you have a purpose here. I have a purpose here, and it took me a while to understand my purpose. And it took me a while to understand that healing will take time as long as you put in the work. All right? I love this episode. Again, it is the mirror effect in relationships. And if you are out there reflecting to your partner, or your partner is reflecting to you, take the time that you need to get into it and reflect on it, and to see where it's coming from and see where you can get rid of it, okay? Or see where you can heal it. All right? Thank you for this conversation. If you guys want to, please subscribe and like below. If you are listening to me on audio streaming platforms, thank you so much. I love you. Keep tuning in and seeing us every other week. And I look forward to seeing you guys next Monday for Monday Motivations. So tune in, stay tuned, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.